What's up, everybody? I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. I hadn't been live in a while, so I figured I'd hop on here today and share some thoughts, just see how everybody's doing. It's always good to connect with you guys, but man, I've been thinking a lot about this whole law of attraction and belief stuff. I always have. It's always been a subject matter that I've been attracted to, but like the whole metaphysics, belief, you get out of life what you expect, you attract things into your life. And I I've been reading this book. It's called The Untethered Soul. It's pretty good actually. And so I read it and then I listen to the audiobook, when I'm not reading. But I'm always trying to learn more. I think that I think belief, that whole uh, setting goals, your vision, clarity of vision, where you're headed. I think that whole subject matter is very underestimated. I think that people don't give it enough credit. I think that sometimes it can come across kind of silly or hokey or like uh, it's hard to like believe that if you write something down or if you envision something or create a vision board that's going to make a difference, because obviously it takes action. For you can't just sit and whisper things and then they just start happening. Obviously it takes action. But I heard it said from a thought leader one time, and he talked about you know success being 90% spiritual and 10% physical. And by that, what he was saying is, the 10%, the how-to part, tactics, strategy, the action. Uh, he said that's about 10% of the deal, but the 90% is like the spiritual side of success, like your desire, your why, the reasons that you're doing something, your vision, your belief. All of that's internal. All of that's a lot of it's subconscious. And I've just studied this stuff for about 10 years now. And I'm just telling you guys, there's more to it than you probably realize. Um, you take books like The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, is a more condensed version. That's probably the most popular success book amongst entrepreneurs worldwide in the history of time. Um, but it's called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, in fact, the first chapter in that book is desire. Napoleon Hill says desire is the starting point of all achievement. And Jim Rohn talks about how our thoughts lead to our feelings, which lead to our actions and then our results. But everything starts with thought. Our thoughts, our inner world, are what we expect, what we believe. If any of you have seen The Secret, the movie The Secret, I don't think it goes into as much depth. That video is kind of, that movie's kind of, I wouldn't say cheesy. It kind of comes across weird when you watch it, if I'm being honest. Uh, but Bob Proctor was in that movie. A lot of you know who Bob Proctor is. John Assaraf was another one who was in that film. Uh, and these guys are, you know, extraordinarily. Uh, well, Bob Proctor just passed away, but I mean, these guys extremely successful, and they've been studying this stuff for years and years and years. And I just believe that there is there's a lot to it. And Bob Proctor even talks about the law of vibration, and everything is on frequencies, and that when we align our frequency with other things of the same frequency, we're going to attract those things. And I don't know, I just think that we should all pay more attention to it. I mean, I have like childlike belief. I always have. I was the kid daydreaming in class, drawing on my notebook, not paying attention in school. But have you ever? I'm gonna sound crazy to some of you today, but I'm just gonna speak about this and my perspective on it. But have you ever kind of just taken a step back and just really looked at this universe that we live in, and like the different elements like water and fire uh, and just how everything is just energy. You think of like inventions that we have now as opposed to like Oh gosh, my cat's litter box is turning. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Let me see. It's it's a litter robot. It turns and cycles the litter. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully it's not too loud in the background. But have you ever really thought about like what we have now as opposed to like when our parents were kids and then they had black and white TV and they had like three shows that they could watch, like Flipper and the Andy Griffith Show, or stuff like that. And now, I mean, I remember in high school I had a beeper, I had a pager, and like payphones, and the way technology has just in you know snowballed over the last 20 years. Well, the fact that I'm talking to you guys right now in real time, my computer's not even connected to anything. Oh, it is connected to the charger, but there's no wires connecting my computer to your phone or wherever you're watching this from. It's just wavelengths flying through the air. Yet you're not only hearing me, but seeing me and hearing me in real time, and that could be viewed from anywhere on the entire planet for pretty much. You know, think about that. If we showed this to someone 100 years ago, they'd want to burn you at the stake and call you a witch or something, or a sorcerer or something. I mean, but the fact that it's possible, everything started out as like a thought or a dream, or whether it's the Wright brothers and flying a plane, or um, Thomas Edison, all these different inventions that we never would have believed had someone not done it before. And but I mean, just as easy, just as simple as, and I know I'm kind of rambling, I'm kind of because I'm talking as I'm thinking about this stuff. Um, what's up, Amber? Good morning. I see you, girl. I'm just thinking about this, and as it relates to business and success, and you know, when you have, like the Bible says, without vision, the people perish, right? So when you have vision about something, when you have goals or when you have something that you're set out to accomplish, don't base your future off of your past or who you've associated with or what you've seen done around you, because most people think so small. Uh, but when you get around people who do think big, when you get around people who are playing the game at a much higher level than you are, and you associate with people, it kind of opens up your mind a little bit, and you start to see what's possible. Like I'll just be completely transparent with you guys. 10 years ago, when I looked at my last company and the first like home-based business, most people who are exposed to this type of opportunity, they're like, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds like one of those things. I've seen people try this, I've seen people try that, and they never succeed. They kind of base what they expect off of what they've seen or social proof around them. I didn't know anything like that. I didn't know, honestly, I just was never introduced to it, never heard of any businesses like this. I just was like a kid with a big dreamer who was just, you know, like open to anything. Something intuitively inside my heart, my whole life, I was just like, I'm meant for something bigger. I'm meant for something. I want to do something great. I want to have this life of freedom. Like I hated being under someone else's control. Now, I voluntarily joined the military. You know, uh, voluntarily joined law enforcement. I was in law enforcement for 11 years, 8 of which I was a state trooper. And all I knew for the most part, my entire adult life was you're going to do this because I said you're going to do it. And if you don't, there'll be consequences. So all I knew was taking orders and being under someone else's control. But I did that because out of my desire to serve. Like that's always been the intrinsic motivator for me, was to serve others and make a difference. But I was an art major in college. I've always had a huge imagination. Come from a broken home, so had time to myself. And a lot of times I would draw. I've always had a kind of creative mind. I don't know if that's the right brain or left brain, but I've always kind of been on that more that creative. mindset, you know. So sometimes I did feel out of place in the profession that I chose. But when I was introduced to the business that I'm in, or the profession that I'm in, all I could think of was, if this is possible, it can be done. Like when I started seeing the compensation plan drawn out and like how you could build an organization, you can scale, you can leverage your time, you can create residual income, and that there were people doing it already that not only had, making a tremendous amount of money, but they had time freedom to go with it. And I was just like, wow, this is really possible. Like, and then it's possible for me. Like, I could do this. Like, I will work. I don't care how much work it takes. I don't care how long it takes me, even if it takes me 5 years, 10 years. Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen. Because when I saw the amount of money that could be earned, I knew I could never earn that type of money being a state trooper. I knew I could never, have time and money with a job or 9 to 5. I dropped out of college. I was an average student. Um, I mean, look at me. I'm just a normal dude. Like, there's nothing special really about me. I mean, all of us are special. Every single one of us are unique. There's no one else like you or like me or anybody. So we're all special in that sense of the word. But I mean, there was nothing like about me that made that gave me an advantage in a type of business like this other than my belief and my desire to succeed, which is spiritual, which is the 90%, the psychological side of it. That was the only thing that, I guess, the differentiator between me and anyone else was, I just believed that it was possible. And I went after it expecting to succeed, in that belief, that vision that I put out in front of me of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to create time freedom. I want to be home with my son who has autism. I want to be a dad that's present and be able to still provide like I wanted to. But it was that vision, that clarity that I had, that I borrowed basically from other people that have already done it before me. It kind of pulled me toward the future, and it pulled me through the adversity that I came across, the obstacles that I ran into, the struggles that I, obviously, uh, came up against throughout this journey of going, getting to where I am today, and I started getting into like personal development, and all the personal development, all these classic success, um, speakers and authors and coaches and everything, it all came down to, like, all of it came down to, what are you thinking about? Like, T. Harv Eker wrote The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He talked about your inner world is going to create your outer world. Your programming, and by programming, like what you're watching, what you're listening to, your parents, how you were brought up, who you're associating with, you know, what you're surrounding yourself with is going to program how you think, which is going to lead to your emotions. Kind of like I mentioned earlier with Jim Rohn, it's going to lead to your emotions, which lead to how you act. And then, of course, that will lead to your results, which then reinforce your thoughts and your programming and thoughts, because what you're getting out of life. But ultimately, it's what's inside your mind, what's inside your heart. It made such a massive difference on what you attracted into your life, and what you, um, chose to pursue, and who you became, and all that. But it was all like internal. James Allen published a book in 1902 called As a Man Thinketh. Um, I mentioned earlier Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Earl Nightingale had The Strangest Secret. If you go on YouTube, type in Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, listen to that audio. It's about 30 minutes. But he says the secret is you become what you think about. You become what you think about. And this is, I mean, timeless material that has, you know, held true decade after decade after decade, century, a century plus, that I've, have material over a century old, uh, that's teaching these principles, and in any of your big major thought leaders, if you YouTube just success principles and things, you're going to listen to people talk about What are you what are you putting into your mind? What are you feeding yourself daily? Not food, but like what are you feeding your mental uh what are you feeding your brain, And and I'm just telling you guys that there's something to that. There is. I mean, it's like almost like we create our world around us by our thoughts and feelings. Like we create our world. Okay? So I know that may sound ridiculous to some people, but I'm not speaking theoretically here. Like I've lived this now. I haven't had a job in over 8 years. Like, the whole live free brand that I love, I mean, it's a philosophy because it's important to me because like I said earlier, I was on one side of that, spectrum, and now I'm on another side of the spectrum. So I was on one side where I was just under control, control, control. And now for the last over 8 years, God, I wake up every single day when I'm tired of sleeping. Unless I'm running the kids to school, sometimes I'll wake up earlier. But honestly, I'm up before that usually because Mm, I'm excited to live my life because I don't have to wake up for somebody else. Like, so when I worked, I didn't want to hit my alarm clock and go to work because it was something that I was being forced to do. Now, was I being forced to do it? No, but it was all I knew to create or to collect a paycheck in order to pay my bills and provide for my family. But it was all I knew. And I felt like I was just what I was supposed to do. But once I got to the point where I got in this business that I was in and I doubled my income practically. Golly, doubled my income practically, what I was earning as a state trooper, and then I quit my job, fired my boss, walked away. No one around me believed I was making a good decision. I mean, family, coworkers, everybody's like, "Dude, you're crazy. You'll be back. There's no way. Those things don't last." And I just believed that it would. Believed it. I just believed it, and I expected to succeed. Now, I worked hard. Um, I did work hard, but I'm telling you guys, the difference was internal. It wasn't what I looked like, it wasn't what I said. I did work hard, but when I interacted with people and shared, where I was going, it was that vision for what I was going to do that I believe and my belief in that vision. So like when I told somebody, "Hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. We're going to make it happen." Because I believed it, that belief, they could see that I believed it and they believed me because I truly did believe, like, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going. But if I didn't believe it, I could never convey that belief to someone else. And if I couldn't convey it authentically, they wouldn't believe it and they would have never gotten started and partnered with me you know, and I'm just telling you guys, like, I'm not saying it has to be about what I like my lifestyle or living free or whatever it is. It could be this can apply to anything. But I'm just telling you that whatever it is that you believe and expect out of life, you're going to attract it. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Trust me on this, please. I don't talk about this a whole lot because I know it can be perceived in different ways. But honestly, I've never been one to care. Some people this may be for some of y'all, this may not be for some of y'all. Some of y'all may be watching this thinking I'm an idiot and just keep scrolling. But there's some of you that know I'm on to something here. And it's not just me, it's everyone, everyone who's ever succeeded believes it. Any athlete, any like you could pull up, type in like some of y'all may not like this, but type in like Conor McGregor law of attraction and listen to the things this guy talked about when he was a young fighter and like spoke that vision and what he was going to do and did it, went out and did it. And now I mean, he made 180 million last year. He rolls around on his Lamborghini yacht, but good fighter, and he's a good marketer and promoter. But I mean, it's like if you listen to him talk about how he attracted this because of the vision that he had. And it's not, I mean, that's just one example. I mean, there's just tons of examples of this. But we live in in a magical universe. Like I know I know society puts us in this little box and the system puts us in a box. You go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you get a piece of paper that says you can go work for someone. Uh, Either you got a grant or you owe a bunch of student loans or someone paid for your college. I don't know. But then you get a job making X number of dollars a year. You do that for however long till you retire, what, 65 years old? And then you have about 10 years left of your average life expectancy to live how you want. And then you're in your mid 60s. And then you spent 40 hours a week, all these hours and hours and hours and hours working your whole entire life for this job. Now, is it something that you want to do? Maybe so. Maybe it is. Maybe it's something that you are passionate about, and that's great. And I loved my job. I was passionate about it. I enjoyed the job, but it was still a job. And there's nothing wrong with having a job. But I just believed that I could still earn money and not have a job and have time freedom with my family and be able to just live a life that I can enjoy. I mean, we travel all the time. In October, we were in Jamaica. Um, we go all over. In August, we're going to Nicaragua. November, we're going to Dominican Republic. Uh, in October, we're going to the Bahamas. All this year, I don't have to call somebody and be like, "Hey, can I have this week off to go do this?" No, I don't have to ask any human being to do anything. And I've lived like that for almost a decade now, as just me. And I sit around my house, and I know I posted about it yesterday about being complacent and watching Netflix and procrastinating and things like that. I do. There are areas that I struggle in, and sometimes I just look in the mirror and I ask myself, how in the world does this even happen? Like, how do I look out my window every day and see all these people going to work? When I take my kids to school, people are just driving in traffic, honking at each other, impatient, pissed off. They just hate their life. And I just come home, make my coffee, and I just do whatever I want every single day for almost 10 years. I've been living free, free. How is that possible? And it's not, there's so many misconceptions about the type of business I'm in. Oh, he got in at the right time, or he's the guy at the top makes all the money, all that type of. No, no, no. I did it once in my last company. My last company was um, when I joined was over 10 years old when I joined. Um, Built that to multiple six-figure income, was enjoying my life or whatnot. When that didn't work out, I ended up starting over in August of 2020, where I'm at now, built it again. And this company was 30 plus years old, but rebranded 7 years prior to that to what it is now. And I've done it again. And I can only attribute that to the belief. Now, the second time I did it, I had two options. I could go get a job somewhere, or I could build it again. Now, because of having not had a job for about 6.5 years when that happened, um, I didn't want to go get a job just because I've been job free for 6.5 years, so I was psychologically unemployable, meaning like it would have killed me to have to go to work, knowing for 6 years plus what it's like to not have to answer to somebody, to go to a job and follow orders and told someone telling me you're going to do this because I said you're going to do it, and if you don't, you're going to be fired. Like the idea of that scared me to death. So I did transition companies, but my back was against the wall, and I said, I'm going to succeed. Like I'm going to win here. I have to. I have to. And so that was a psychological thing. That was my reasons. The desire was extremely high. All that, I had no idea what I was doing. none whatsoever. As far as the business, specific business, like the health and wellness, I didn't know what liquid collagen was. I didn't know what any of this stuff was. I just knew the guy who I reached out to and partnered with was earning a tremendous amount of money. He was earning what I was making in a year in my previous company. He was making that a month here. So I was like, this guy knows what's going on. Like, I want to partner with this guy. I want to learn from this guy. I want this guy to mentor me. Reached out. He took his time to do that. And I am where I'm at today. But it was just simply a belief issue. It wasn't I'm not I do like business. I do like numbers. I do like, you know, structuring a business. I don't, something comes to me intuitively about that. Like I like that. I do find it simple. But there's nothing easy about what I do. It's just, uh, I just believe it. I just expect it. So I say that to you guys. Let me say what's up to some people. What's up, David Haas, Sam Kabani? I always stop uh, mid sentence, like to uh, to give shout outs. What's up, guys? So I say that to all that to say, if there's something that you want in your life, like number one, you gotta first figure that out. Like, what is it that you want? Uh, a couple days ago, we were writing down goals. Like, I filled a whole sheet up with goals and things that I wanted to accomplish. And I turned the page and I was like, got my wife Aaliyah. I was like, hey, let's write down some goals. Like, I want you to dream big, and we're going to write it down, and we're going to accomplish every single thing that we write on this paper. And after about four or five, she couldn't name anything else. She's like, I don't know. Like, but so sometimes it's hard for us to open up our dreamer and dream. But I challenge you guys. I challenge every single one of you that can hear me. And I know it's not just a few of you because it's in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, and most people are at work. But if you're watching this on the replay, if you've even listened to me this long, this is what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to get a piece of paper and just make a little box that you could put a check in later, and just put those little boxes all the way down the line and all the way down the sheet, and just write things that you want to accomplish, whether it's pay off all credit card debt, pay off my home, pay off my house, uh, have $100,000 in my savings account, um, whatever it is, travel to this place, uh, buy this specific vehicle, um, you know take my kids to this place, or whatever it is. Just start writing things down, and review those often. So, like, put it somewhere where you can see it in the morning, at night, and start just, but believe with all of your heart that you can do this. You don't have to know exactly how you're going to do it. Just believe that you can. And then when the universe starts aligning these opportunities in your life, don't pass over them. Uh, what is poor? I don't know if I'm remembering this right. Poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly, or something like that, or regularly, passing over opportunities regularly. Poor. Yeah, don't pass over opportunities. When the universe puts something in your in your path, go for it. Try it. If it sucks or if you don't like it, then do something else. But take some risks. Try some new things. The next 6 years of your life is going to be exactly like the last 6 years unless you do something different. Get around some different people. Read some books on, like, success and entrepreneurship and the law of attraction. Read some stuff on that. The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. That's an audio. You could get that on YouTube for free. I pay for YouTube Premium, $15 a month, and no ads. I could turn my phone off, and it's just an unlimited resource of personal development. Type in anything you want to listen to leadership. I have this John Maxwell daily reader that I have. It's really good. It's like a leadership devotional. But, like, you could type in anything. Type in Jim Rohn, Jimrohn, on YouTube, and just listen. But listen to these people talk about the laws of success and things, and just apply those into your life, and believe that you can accomplish anything that you set out to believe. But you first have to know what it is you want. And then you have to have a vision for it and a clear vision on that you're going to attain these things. And just let the how to part work itself out. Just like when you plant a seed in the ground. The dirt's not translucent. You can't see through it. You just got to trust if you water it that what's going to happen is going to happen. That's kind of how you got to do with your goals. You plant them, you take them from the spiritual world and you put them into the physical world by writing them down. I believe that, it's biblical. Ask and you shall receive, that type of thing. Ask intelligently by writing these things down to this most specific detail. Write it down. And just keep writing these things. Write. Set goals. I look up here because that's where my vision is. The vision board is. But I have all kind of things on there. I have a McLaren 720S. I have a Rolls Royce Wraith, G63 AMG Mercedes G wagon. I have this beautiful brick home that I love. I'm obsessed with it. I have uh, post-it notes of goals and stuff that I want to reach, and I have them all. I have it all written down. But I just believe that it's going to happen. And every day, I believe that like God's going to provide and that this life is going to continue. But I also look around and I'm like, why doesn't more people live like this? And I struggle with that sometimes. I ask myself, why? Because I preach all this and I try to share these philosophies. I try to talk about this stuff. And I feel like an outcast sometimes. I feel like not many people relate. And I think it's just a lack of belief. And I'm grateful. I really am grateful that God gave me this mindset, that childlike, uh, I'm almost naive, but it's paid off because I don't, I don't compare myself to other people. I just believe it and expect it and go after it and it happens to work out. But it's not just once, it's not just twice, it's all the time with anything. And that's why I'm talking to you about it now with the confidence and saying, "Hey, if you do this, it will happen for you too. It will happen for you too." But you have to believe it in your heart. You have to know, almost know, like it's already done. Like when you write these things down, I heard Bob Proctor and I memorized it because I've written it so many times in my gratitude journal. But he said, one of the examples he gave, he said, I'm so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. And I've written that down a lot of times in my gratitude journal. Sometimes, if I'm not sure like what to write, and of course, I write things about my family and about my health and God. I feel like God protects my family, safety, and I pray for these things and expect these things, and I'm grateful for these things. But oftentimes I'll write that I'm so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I'm so happy and grateful now. It's an affirmation. It's an affirmation. In Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he talks about, um, affirmations and um, speaking these things often, and and it's just I can't explain it. I'm just challenging you guys to try it because my life is real. I'm real. I mean, people that know me, I'm a normal dude. Like there's nothing about me that makes me that much different than any of you. And I know that not everybody would just not want to have a job and just live free, but there are some of you guys out there. I know it. I know it because I know I'm not the only one. You know, I knew like that I was designed more for than just to just go to work, pay bills, and die. Like when I used to pray, like, God, send me something. Like I don't need easy, I just need possible. Like if you give me the opportunity, I will make it happen. Like I will go after it and do it. And he did, and I did. But it was like I just It was so random too, man. There was a guy that I served in Iraq with showed me this profession. We weren't even that close of friends. It was like very random, and like I don't even remember my life. I mean, I remember my life before that, but I don't remember what I thought about before that. Like it was like I didn't have any reason to dream or to get excited about the future. I knew exactly how much money I was going to make for the next 20 years. I knew what my life was going to, entail for the next couple decades, and like nothing really excited me about it. But like once my dreams became possible, and I knew I was going to have to work for them, and I knew that, uh, it wasn't going to be easy or anything like that. But I just got started and didn't stop. And in less than 2 years from when I started on July 20th, 2012, and on June 5th, 2014, which is my oldest daughter's eighth birthday, she's now 16. I quit my job, and I've never had a job since. And I've, you know, had to rebuild a couple years ago. So it wasn't like a fluke or anything like that. There is something to this. I've talked about it now for about 30 minutes. I feel like I've gotten my point across, but I just want to challenge you guys to please consider this in your life and take some time. You can even do it with your spouse, you can do it by yourself, but like figure out, what do I want? Life is so short. Like I'd love to think, we'll live forever, or that we have, another 300 years to figure this whole thing out and do what we want. No, we don't, guys. Like life, a sense of, you know, we got to have a sense of urgency. If we're going to live this life and then get out of it what we want, we got to understand it has to be right now. Like right now, we got to get started. We don't have any time to waste, you know, and start figuring out, hey, what do I want out of this life? And then spend the rest of your natural life going after that. So many people on their deathbed regret not the things that they did. They regret the chances they didn't take, the risks they didn't take, the things they didn't do, the things that they didn't try, and the time that they didn't spend with people that they cared about the most. Don't for 1 second believe that you can't live the life you want and have the time flexibility to enjoy it. And I know this because I'm living it and have, like I said, for almost a decade. I'm no different than anybody else. I just believed it and expected it and went after it. And I promise you, this is not, I'm just telling you guys, I'm, I live this. I live it, and you can live this. You can. I promise you can. You just got to go for it. Whatever it is, whatever opportunities you see out there, try them, go for them. Write things down, write dates on them, and say, this will happen by this date. Like this will happen. And believe it, read it, review it. Where's my wallet? Oh man, I can show y'all a card in my wallet. It's in the other room. I wrote down these things on this card and kept it in my wallet and read it, and things that came true that I'm like, I had no idea how these things would have come true, but they did. Goals I reached in my last company and this company, things that I wrote down and told myself I would do, had no idea how I was going to do it, but it just happened to work out. And how do you explain that? Not just once, but over and over and over again. You write these things down, you speak them, and you believe them, and then they happen. Oh, it's not. I mean, coincidence happens rarely. Like, oh, that was a coincidence. All right. But when something happens over and over and over and over and over again, you can't say it's coincidence anymore. There's evidence backing it up that there's something to it. There's something legitimate about what you're doing that's yielding you these results. And I'm telling you guys, it's spiritual. It's metaphysical. Everything is energy and everything's frequencies. Everything is, you attract and repel things from your life by your subconscious thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions and what you expect. Trust me on this. Write some things down, set some goals, believe bigger sooner, and start going after stuff with the expectation that you will get it like it's already done. Like, believe it so much like it's going to happen. Like, this is already done. And when you have that type of belief, there's no other option but for it to happen. So that's what I challenge you guys to do. I hope that that you do it. I hope that you go for it. I'm fired up for you. Let me know. Let me know if you do this and you happen to reach it. Like, let me know. Write down some goals. Message me privately. Say, hey, these are the things that I want to accomplish. How can I go get it? And I'll be like, well, hey, look, this is what I did. This is exactly what I've done to have, the lifestyle I have. And that's all I did. I found a mentor who was living the life that I wanted and followed their footsteps. They've already walked through the minefield. All I have to do is follow, and believe. And I'm here. I don't know what that noise is. It's the trash truck outside. Look, guys, I love you guys. I'm fired up. I'm fired up for the future. I want this for you. I want it for you. Just like I know what it feels like to experience it. I've done it for, like I said, over 8 years. I want other people to experience it and to live a life that of freedom and autonomy. I want that for anybody that wants it. Not everybody wants it, but for those who do, just know that it is possible. That's it. But you got to believe, you got to expect it. We live in a magical universe. Anything's possible. The Bible doesn't say with God, small things are possible. It says with God, all things are possible to those who believe. It even says in the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And you attract who you are, you attract what you've become. It's all about becoming. And you become what Earl Nightingale said, you become what you think about. So start changing your thoughts. Start changing what you expect. Start changing what you believe and watch what happens to your entire life. It will transform. It will. Because you're going to take different actions because you believe different things. So, anyway, all right. I'm out of here, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. Have a great week. Much love. God bless. And we'll chat soon.